Came from the pain and made it out of Banner. Drove and see the nightlife where they call Atlanta. Southside shows for a couple dollars, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here, the last show of 2020, episode number 44 of the Brew Party podcast, solely a Maloney's Moneyline episode to close out the year. Who better to help me celebrate my first year of podcasting than the one and only Ryan Maloney? So here he is, the titular character of Maloney's Moneyline, the winner, the first ever winner of Maloney's Moneyline throughout the year. We kept our records going. Ryan has been kicking my ass. So this is week number 22 of Maloney's Moneyline, something we're going to keep going into 2021. We'll probably just keep doing the week 23, 24, so on. No reason really to change that up. But Ryan, you missed last week. Week 21 was just me. I flew solo, audio only version of that. Almost, I mean, probably talked just about the same amount as you are the man of many words. I can fill the time. That's not a problem. But how was your Christmas, man? We missed you last week.
Yeah, I missed you guys too. I'm happy to be back. Christmas was good, kind of different, but I don't know, it was still Christmas. How about you?
It was good. Yeah, same. It was different. Didn't get to spend as much time with the fam as I would have liked, but as long as everybody's safe and healthy, that is what matters. But so enough about that. Let's kind of talk a little bit about last week. So you are back to your Mr. 4-4 ways. So you finished last week with a record of 4-4. So you had the Cleveland Browns minus 9.5. Tennessee Green Bay stays under by like 2.5 points. Your Dolphins win, but fail to cover. That's only the second time they've failed to cover when you pick them. They're now 11-4 against the spread. And then you missed on the Giants plus 10.5, who just got absolutely mollywopped. Sorry to Tom Scavetta, Sam Cardona, and Hank Indictor, my Giants fans and podcasters. But yeah, they got fucked up. You did go good. Pittsburgh comes back and wins. Moneyline hits for you. The LA Rams and Seattle stay under 47. And you get the Buffalo sweep, Ryan. The Buffalo Bills minus 4.5. And the Buffalo Bills minus 7. Do you want to explain your little personal vendetta against the Marshall Thundering Herd and why you picked the Buffalo Bulls?
Yeah, I mean, a couple weeks ago, they just, in two separate sports, just ruined parlays. So I used to love them. I love the Thundering Herd nickname. But, yeah, I mean, they're just not a good team to pick against.
Does Ryan? We have a listener comment here from Grant Baker. Does Ryan have a spin zone on how Florida will win tonight without their studs?
Yeah, Oklahoma's not good. They're frauds.
Frauds. Throw the F word. This is Sam Cardona from the Girl Who Talks Sports podcast checking in. Thank you so much for joining us, Sam. Make sure you go check out all of Sam's awesome work wherever you get your podcast, The Girl Who Talks Sports. She is a Giants fan herself out of Staten Island, New York. She does a lot of great work, but she is very knowledgeable about the rest of the NFL and a bunch of other sports too. So go check out all of Sam's work. She's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. The Girl Who Talks Sports. Thanks so much for joining us, Sam. So my week last week, I went 5-3, Ryan. Let's go.
Yeah.
Back to my winning ways. That's very rare these days. So if we look, the Iowa Hawkeyes, I'm 0-2 in college basketball now because Iowa got beat by Minnesota. And then Arizona loses to San Francisco, which I thought wasn't going to happen. But, it works out in my favor for both because, one, fuck the Iowa Hawkeyes, and two, the Arizona loss helped out the Bears. Obviously, we still have to see what happens in this last week of NFL action if Kyler Murray is now playing this week with his leg injury, Jared Goff out for the Rams. So it was about to be an awesome backup matchup there. But not anymore. I also missed on Coastal minus 7.5. That was an awesome game. Liberty wins 37-34 there. A battle of a game we were supposed to see earlier in the year that didn't end up happening. Ruins Coastal Carolina's perfect season there. But that's enough about last week. Let's update our records here. overall, obviously. So we are now a combined 183, 141, and 5. We're up to the 30 unit mark. We're plus 30.1 units combined. Ryan, it's pretty incredible that we are 42 games over 500.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a shame we couldn't get to 200 by the end of the year, but that's all right.
Even if
that would have been something.
Even if we sweep this week, we'll still be one short. So we'll see. But let's update you on your personal record. So personally, you're killing it. Like I said, 95, 67, and 2. He's plus 20 units by himself, folks. Plus 21.05 units. If we dive a little bit deeper into Ryan's records, this will be, we are counting this last week as last week of 2020, even though some of the games will technically be in 2021, but that doesn't matter. So Ryan's favorites of the week are 9 and 12. His underdogs of the week are 13 and 8, which doesn't make sense. Just he knows how to pick the underdogs, not necessarily the team that is favored in the game. His overs are 8, 12, and 1, but his unders are 14 and 7. So it's just complete contrast. He just loves the word under, ladies and gentlemen. Locks of the week are 12 and 9, really good there. And then his other general picks are 38, 20, and 1. Those are also doing great there. So NBA, he finished 8 and 8. NHL, he finished 5 and 1. UFC, he was 6, 4 and 1. College football, 20 and 10. Pat yourself on the back for that one, Ryan. That is a very awesome record. There you go. And then NFL, he was 47, 36 and 1. Really awesome stuff. He's just, like I said, just kicking my ass on my own show, guys. So if we go over to me, I am 88, 74, and 3, plus a measly 9.05 units there myself. Don't mean to brag or anything. We have another listener comment. I can't tell you how excited I am for Andy's rant when Luka drops 30 and Iowa beats Illinois. That's fine. I mean, even if we beat Minnesota by 27, you guys lost to them. So I'm curious for that matchup. I will tell you, if Iowa gets hot from 3, watch out. But you guys don't play defense at all. So it'll probably be about 100 to 97. Don't know who's going to win. Luka probably will put up a bunch of points, but I guarantee you that Kofi has at least 3 or 4 fouls, just because that's the way the Big Ten likes to officiate Luka's bitch ass. He is a Euro player. He will not do anything in the NBA. I am calling that right now. I'm not trying to throw shade. Actually, I am, because he probably is the National Player of the Year, incredible college basketball player, but he's not going to get those calls. He's not going to get officiated like that at the next level. So moving back on to me, my picks. So I'm 88, 74, and 3. My rough stretch has been very well documented on this segment. So let's go to my personal record. So I'm 88, 74, and 3. I keep saying that because I keep getting sidetracked with these comments here. So my favorites are 11 and 10. My underdogs are 11 and 10. My overs are 11 and 10. My unders are 11 and 10. My locks of the week are 12, 8, and 1. I'm 34, 26, and 2. When in my general picks, my Major League Baseball picks were 5 and 2. The NBA total of 11 and 6. Technically, last season I was 10 and 6, and then I'm 1 and 0. On this new season. The NHL, I was 4 and 2, UFC 2 and 2, college football, I'm 19, 22 and 1. Really not great there. Soccer, I was 3-0 and 1, or I'm sorry, I was 3 and 0. And then NFL 43, 37 and 2, college basketball 0 and 2. So those are our records for the year for 2020 across all sports there. We just gave you a nice little in-depth breakdown of that. So let's move on to the next one. Like I said, Ryan is the 2020 champion. We do this thing on the podcast where we look to see if you were to place $100 on each one of our bets, where you would be at. So if you were to place $100 on each one of Ryan and I's bets, you would be at a total of $3,011.77. That's how much you'd be up, folks. We are bringing in the cash. Like I said, our record here is 183, 141, and 5 plus 31.1 units. If you were to just do that on my bets, $100 on my bets through 21 weeks, you would be at $905.97. If you were to do it on just Ryan's bets, you would be up $2,105.80. Just something cool we like to keep track of here. Not that we are putting that much money on all of these bets, but we don't unit shame. No matter how big the unit is, it's just good to have some action on the game, isn't it, Ryan? So this is Maloney's Moneyline, week number 22. Before we get into the picks, we're going to do something a little different here. So it is bowl season, ladies and gentlemen. College football is coming to a close. It's been a crazy year of college football, but here we get to the best part. We get to the college football playoff. We get to the New Year's Six bowls. So we're going to preview those real quick. So first of all, Happy New Year to everybody out there. Thank you so much for tuning in on this episode of the Brew Party Podcast. Let's get into our bowl preview. So let's start with the New Year's Six bowls, Ryan. Your first one, it's tonight. We have your Florida Gators taking on the Oklahoma Sooners in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. So let's do a quick preview. So you have your top two receivers are out now. Florida, they have opted out to prepare for the draft. What are you expecting to see from the Gators and the Sooners?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of expecting quite a few players to opt out when so many of them are going to be NFL draft picks. I mean, it sucks that they couldn't make the playoffs. Obviously when you lose a couple games, you're not going to make it. So, they played Bama well. They, played best they could to maybe get somewhat of a shot, because you never know with the committee. But, yeah, I mean, it's not meaningless. Like, I'm sure, they want to win, but, it's going to hurt not having a lot of our key players. But I still think Florida's the better team.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too. Do you have a score prediction for this game?
Probably like 31-14.
31-14 Gators.
Yeah.
Chop. So by the time this audio is out later tonight, we will know the score of that game. So we'll see. But Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, I really like. I mean, it's hard not to like what Trask has done. So I'll be curious to see what he'll be able to do with those, I guess, not really secondary receivers, but guys he's probably not throwing to as much. Is Pitts playing?
No, he's not. But I think Florida's like +7 or +6 or something around there. So
Oklahoma is the favorite.
They're the underdog. Yeah.
We'll see. So let's move on to the next game, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Eat more chicken. It's UGA versus Cincy. So the Georgia Bulldogs versus Cincinnati Bearcats. That is going to be featured on both of our cards. Stay tuned for that. So Cincinnati, probably the best G5 team in a long time, and you could say 15 years maybe. And Georgia is always that blue blood, that powerhouse, not as high up as they have been in recent years, but it's going to be a good matchup. We see one of the little guys get their shot at an SEC powerhouse. Ryan, what are you kind of expecting to see from this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a good game. I really like what Cincinnati did this year. But, Georgia, SEC, they're solid team, even though, like you said, they didn't have, as great of a season as usual. But, I think Georgia will probably win this game by a score or so. So look out for that later on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not going to spoil my pick, but yeah, I think this is going to be a great game as well. I'd love to see Cincinnati go undefeated and knock off one of the big boys. But we'll see. As far as the score prediction for me goes, I'm going to say, you know what? We're going to avoid the score predictions for this one because we have it on our cards. I don't want to spoil it for everybody. So let's move on. The PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. So I need to get the matchup here, of course. The Oregon, Iowa State. So it's 2-3 Oregon comes in with 2 or 3 losses, and Iowa State has the same. So kind of weird that they put these two teams over some of the I don't want to say more prestigious teams, but teams with better records. So these two teams get their New Year's Six Bowl. Iowa State coming off the loss in the Big 12 title game, and then Oregon gets the W in the Pac-12 title game that they weren't even supposed to be in. So what are you kind of thinking from this game, Ryan? Anything?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry. My dog's going crazy right now. I'm trying to, no, it should be a good game. I like Oregon, so
Oregon.
It's hard to talk while Scooby's going crazy right now.
It's all good. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one over. So it'll be interesting to see. Can Breece Hall for the Cyclones get loose? How will Bennett Williams, former Illini, lead that defense with Kayvon Thibodeau for the Ducks against that rushing attack? Can they get to Brock Purdy? Brock Purdy made a lot of mistakes in the Big 12 championship game against Oklahoma. So I'll be very curious to see how he responds. I don't know. I think Iowa State is -4 going into the game. That wouldn't be too bad of a pick. I'm going to be rooting for the Ducks, but I will not be surprised if the Cyclones come out with this game. We move on to the Capital One Orange Bowl, and that will feature Texas A&M versus UNC. This one is also featured on my card. I think this is going to be an absolute shootout. UNC does not play a lot of defense. They have 2 rushers that have gone over 1,000 yards this year, so they can do it through the air with Sam Howell, or they can beat you on the ground. Texas A&M on the outside looking into the college football playoff. Are they salty? Are they going to want to come out and put on a show? Kellen Mond has had a really good year, completing 66% of his passes. It'll be curious to see what Jimbo has his boys, has the Aggies doing in the Orange Bowl. I think Texas A&M wins this game, but I think it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Texas A&M, put together obviously a really good season. Sucks they beat Florida, but yeah, it should be a shootout. So
should be a shootout. Sorry, had to open a beer. It's all good. We'll move on to the 2 semifinal games. The Rose Bowl game presented by Capital One. That's not at the Rose Bowl because of COVID restrictions and stuff like that. It will be played at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. So that is the first of the semifinal games, and that is going to be Bama and Notre Dame. It's at 3 o'clock on January 1st, or 3 o'clock Central Time on January 1st. So, like I said, the Rose Bowl, not at the Rose Bowl. Bama's favored by 20.5. Most explosive offense in college football. I don't want to say that college football has seen in a long time just because of LSU last year, but these, if you look at it at the numbers side by side, they are very comparable. So what are you thinking? Is this another just drubbing for Notre Dame in a big game setting?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's really going to be that close at all. You saw how Notre Dame played against Clemson. I know they beat them earlier in the season, but clearly, Trevor Lawrence does make a difference when he's playing. So I think Bama beats them worse than Clemson did, definitely.
Absolutely. I think so too. And I want to bet the game, but I don't. We have talked about laying this many points with Bama before. And it's not that I don't think they'll cover. It's just I don't want to root for a bad game, especially in like a Final Four. I just want it to be close. I'll be cheering for Notre Dame. I don't think they're going to win, but I'm not going to be like upset if Bama wins, because we'll be due for 1 or 5 spectacular catches from Devonta Smith. So let's hope for that. We move on to the other semifinal, the All-State Sugar Bowl, Clemson and Ohio State. That's, I believe, 7 or 8 p.m. Central Time on the first. That's the nightcap. How do you see this one shaking out? Clemson comes in -7, coming off that huge win over Notre Dame where Trevor Lawrence looked pretty unstoppable. Travis Etienne looked back to his old self. Do you think Ohio State has a chance here?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. I think Ohio State is a really talented team, but I just haven't seen enough of them to have enough confidence in them to win it. But especially after we've seen how good Clemson is. So I think it'll be a close game, but I think Clemson will win it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have Clemson and Bama advancing to your national title game, Ryan. Who wins?
Sorry, you froze for a second.
Oh, I apologize. So you have,
I heard the start of that and then it just froze. So sorry.
So you have Clemson and Bama in your national title game. Who wins?
Probably Bama. They're just so good. They're like by far, I've said it multiple times, like the best team in college football. I wish it wasn't Bama Clemson again, but it's always going to be a good game between those two. So definitely take the over in that.
Yeah, I would hammer the over in that game. I'm just curious to see how high it will get up. Yeah, I like that as well. I think that's a safe bet. I guess I'll root for the Big Ten and hope Ohio State gets in there. But even if they do, they're not beating Alabama. I just don't see anybody beating Bama. They're just so electric this year, and it's not really about what they're able to do defensively. It's all about offense. I've talked not shit on Mac Jones, but I've called him a product of the system. But you have to take my hat off to him. He's had an absolutely outstanding year. His numbers stack up to any quarterback in college football. You could argue that they're better than any quarterback in college football. I know some of our friends in our Discord chat definitely have that feeling. So that kind of segues me into this. We'll do our quick Heisman picks real quick. I'm pretty sure I already know yours, but so you start your Ryan Maloney's Heisman winner.
Kyle Trask.
Who knew?
No, I mean, I don't think he will. But obviously I'm going to pick him, but yeah, it'll probably be Devontae Smith.
I would love to see Devontae Smith win the Heisman.
Yeah,
I think
it would be cool.
Just to change up, we get a receiver in there, not the same quarterback. I mean, not that it's the same quarterback that wins it every year, but it almost always is a quarterback. So my winner, I'm gonna go Devontae Smith. I'm gonna say that. I will not be surprised if we see Mac Jones win it. Trevor Lawrence kind of making that late push. Maybe he gets it as thank you for his career and like all of his accomplishments. But I don't know. I think the best player in college football this year has been Devonta Smith, the most electric, most fun to watch. Is number 6 on the outside for the Crimson Tide. So let's move on to something that I'm excited to do, something a little different. Since it is bowl season, we put out a little, not poll last week. It was a meme. So we're going to build your own bowl game. We put that out. We got a bunch of responses from all over Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So you name 2 things, your hometown and the last thing you ate, put those 2 together, and that's your bowl game. We got so many awesome responses, across all our social media. So Ryan and I, we each selected our own New Year's 6 college football playoff and national championship game. I know that the 2 CFP games are actually a part of the New Year's 6. So we did that a little different. We have 6 New Year's games and we have 2 semifinal games and a national champion. So I guess 11 each. So we will read those off and then we'll shout you guys out. Thank you to everybody that commented on it, shared it, all that good stuff. So many awesome responses, a lot more than I thought we were going to get. So we're going to read ours off. If you missed, you can comment and tell us what yours is, and then we will go. So Ryan, I'm going to let you start. So you can just go down your list, and I'll just go down my list. I feel like that'll be the easiest rather than us just going back and forth. If you have an explanation for any game, go ahead. If not, it's cool.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll do my New Year's 6.
Grant, chirp. Also, San Jose State, I think they're either undefeated against the spread or they've only lost like 1 game against the spread. So that could be close. But I'm going to be rocking with the Cardinals, Grant. Go on. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So yeah, I'm just gonna do my New Year's 6. So I chose the Vegas Smoothie Bowl. I don't know why. I just thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know. So pretty much. I mean, yeah, pretty much all of these are just like when I read them and thought of them as like a bowl game, I was just like, that's hilarious. Like,
you could play it at Allegiant Stadium. You could have Smoothie King or some Jamba Juice or some smoothie company fucking sponsor it. I can see it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one is gonna be the Cold Water Sausage Biscuit Bowl. I don't know. It's just hilarious how like long and like sausage biscuit sponsoring a bowl game would be pretty funny.
Yeah, I was trying to look up to see where that was. I think it's in Alabama, but there's like several cold waters around the United States. So I couldn't find like a big enough stadium for that. But the Cold Water Sausage Biscuit Bowl, baby, I'm there.
Yeah. All right. Next one, I'm going the Rancho Cucamonga Tamales Bowl. This one just like sounded like a real bowl game.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is cool. You could play it at the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes Stadium. They are a AAA or AA affiliate of the Dodgers. And we've seen bowl games and football games being played at baseball stadiums before. I think this could be actually a very cool one. I have the name of the stadium here real quick. So it's Lone Mart Field, home of the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, home of the Rancho Cucamonga Tamales Bowl. That's awesome. So let's move on to your next one.
All right, I'm going to the Mackinac City Fudge Bowl. It's just another one. It's just another one that kind of jumped off the page at me. Like a fudge bowl. It sounds like a nice bowl game. Probably be like one of like the lowest ranked teams in like all of D1.
It'd be like the MAC and like the SoCon or like the Sun Belt or something like that. Maybe not the MAC. Maybe I'm selling the MAC a little bit short there, but I can definitely see a MAC team playing in the Fudge Bowl. I wanted to pick this one, but when I saw you had, I kept it off my list. Just I didn't want to double up there, but that is one of my favorites for sure. The Mackinac City Fudge Bowl. Oh, that is hilarious. Your next one.
Next one is the Spring Hill Dirty Rice Bowl. I mean, it's just dirty rice. Like I don't know exactly when you got all these submissions, but like I know you posted it like 9 or 10 a.m. It's like the last thing you ate is dirty rice bowl, dirty rice.
It was across like one whole day, and then like the next day, and even the next day after that. So it was a lot of varying responses, but yeah, dirty rice was definitely funny. The Spring Hill Dirty Rice Bowl. That's hilarious. So you have one New Year's Six bowl left.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to go Upper Sandusky Peach Cobbler Bowl. I mean, I know there's like the Peach Bowl, but like the Upper Sandusky Peach Cobbler Bowl, like just really rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. It's a great one. The Upper Sandusky Peach Cobbler Bowl. That is hilarious. You definitely picked ones that are a little more, I don't want to say frivolous than mine, because mine are pretty funny, but I tried to go for ones that like actually sounded like a real bowl, but yours are funny, but like legit, you could see them being a bowl, like the fucking Duke's Mayo Bowl was today. So why not a Peach Cobbler Bowl? So those are your New Year's Six. You had the Las Vegas Smoothie Bowl, the Coldwater Sausage Biscuit Bowl, the Rancho Cucamonga Tamales Bowl, the Mackinac City Fudge Bowl, the Spring Hill Dirty Rice Bowl, the Upper Sandusky Peach Cobbler Bowl. Those are Ryan's New Year's Six bowl games. Sounds like a Chris Farley movie. Absolutely. Tim Weaver, thank you so much for joining us and for the comment. So let's go to your two semifinal games, then your Natty Champ.
All right, this one, one of my semifinal games is the Hoover Ham Bowl. Like, I don't know if this person was just like from Hoover and was like trying to do like a play on like Hoover Dam. So there's like, I'm gonna say Hoover Ham. But that would be a hilarious semifinal game.
So I don't know if this is where it is, but there is a Hoover that is like one of the biggest suburbs of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
So technically, you could play the Hoover Ham Bowl at Legion Field in Birmingham. So I know that's kind of cheating, but it's only 10 miles away from Hoover. So I definitely count that. That's a legit spot for your semifinal game there. The Hoover Ham Bowl is definitely a good one. And then your next one, my friend.
Yeah, so the other semifinal is the Pocahontas Pretzel Bowl. I don't know where Pocahontas is, but that sounds like a pretty legit bowl game.
I think it's in Arkansas, but I also think there's a Pocahontas, Virginia. But the Pocahontas, Virginia has a population of like 500 people, so I have no idea. But incredible name for a bowl, the Pocahontas Pretzel Bowl. Play it in a bigger city in Virginia or a bigger city in Arkansas, and just call it good. But that's incredible. So here it is, Ryan's national championship game.
All right, national championship. I'm going the Staten Island Frittata Bowl. This one just kind of sounded like legit. Like, I don't know, just kind of when I read it, I was like, this sounds real. Like Staten Island Frittata Bowl.
Shout out to Sam Cardona, who we mentioned earlier, the girl who talks sports.
This
was her bowl game, the Staten Island Frittata Bowl, but it does sound real. And I know you could. This is another one that's kind of cheating. You could technically play it at MetLife Stadium, not on Staten Island, but close enough. It's in Jersey, and that's another big game feel. Big stadium. We have another listener comment. Sam, hell yeah, there we go. I told her, I didn't tell her which one it was, but I told her her game may or may not have been on our list. The Pocahontas Bowl would definitely be like FIU versus Rice. Yes, Grant Baker. Love it. That is what I love about these bowl games because you can just make up like two teams exactly like that. FIU versus Rice would definitely play in the Pocahontas Pretzel Bowl. All right, now let's get into mine. So I have the New Year's Six. I have my semifinals. I have my championship game. Let me pull up my reasoning here. Not really reasoning, but my location stuff like that. So I'm going to start off. We're going to Florida, the DeLand Burrito Bowl. So you could definitely have this sponsored by like Chipotle or like Moe's or something like that. Like I'm sure they would jump all on this. So DeLand, Florida is the home of Stetson University. So you could play this game at Spec Martin Stadium, home of the Stetson Hatters. I think it has like about 6,000 people is the capacity there. Decent, intimate setting for this DeLand Burrito Bowl. Shout out to Chris Wilson from PCN Final Score for sending that one in. Go check out him and Craig on PCN Final Score. They live stream every Sunday morning. They do a lot of awesome work. Great sports content over there. Chris is actually a Notre Dame fan, so I'm sure he will be rooting for the Irish this weekend. So my next bowl is the Pawtucket Publix Meatball Sub Bowl. So we're heading up to Pawtucket, Rhode Island. We're playing this game at the Pawtucket Red Sox Stadium, which is called McCoy Stadium. It's another cool venue. You play it in the up in the Northeast. The Pawtucket Publix Meatball Sub Bowl. That is hilarious. Shout out to Charles Richardson for sending that one in. Thank you so much. But that's another one. They could see like just two random. Like Boston College versus somebody just ridiculous. Let's move on. It's another one that made me laugh. The Greenville Hot Fudge Sundae Pop-Tart Bowl. So we're heading to Greenville, South Carolina. There is a Greenville in Illinois, but I didn't think it was that one. So we'll play this at Paladin Stadium, home of the Furman Paladins. They have like 17,000 capacity there. This would be a decent little bowl game. The Greenville Hot Fudge Sundae Pop-Tart Bowl. Thank you to Matt Jordan for sending that one in. My next one, another one that could be real, is the Columbus Krispy Kreme Bowl. So I had a few different submissions that said Columbus. So shout out to Columbus, Ohio. Had a few people comment there, but this one seemed to be the best one. I liked it the best. The Columbus Krispy Kreme Bowl. I'm not going to put a K on Columbus because that would be bad. Let's move on to my buddy Grant Baker's submission, the Quad Cities Hy-Vee Cinnamon Roll Bowl. This is one that, this has like Mac, Ohio Valley or all whatever written all over it. The Quad Cities Hy-Vee Cinnamon Roll Bowl. You can play it in the Quad Cities. So a couple options here for location. So there's the Brady Street Stadium. That's where St. Ambrose University plays football. They're an NAIA school, so it'd be a little bit smaller. Or another cool one, another theme I've been going with here. You could go to Modern Woodman Park. It's another minor league baseball stadium, home of the Quad City River Bandits. I consulted with Grant on this one because he is from the Quad Cities, obviously. He said they used to play high school football there in the 80s, so they've played football there before. Would be a cool little venue. So the Quad Cities Hy-Vee Cinnamon Roll Bowl. My next one is the Lake Charles Uncrustables Bowl. There's another one that sounds real. That's what I was trying to go for here, is like brands that like I could actually see like sponsoring like a small bowl game or something like that.
Yeah.
So Lake Charles Uncrustable Bowl. I believe this is Lake Charles, Louisiana. So we could play it at Cowboy Stadium, home of the McNeese State Cowboys in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Lake Charles Uncrustables Bowl. So that's my New Year's Six. The DeLand Burrito Bowl, the Pawtucket Publix Meatball Sub Bowl, the Greenville Hot Fudge Sundae Bowl, the Columbus Krispy Kreme Bowl, the Quad Cities Hy-Vee Cinnamon Roll Bowl. Oh, fuck. That's only 5. No, I'm an idiot. And the Lake Charles Uncrustables Bowl. God damn it. I'm so stupid. All right. We had a couple listeners. The Quad Cities Bowl has Western Michigan, North Texas written all over it. Grant, keep these coming. Any bowl games you see? You want to throw out some teams? I'm loving it. The Uncrustable, Tim Weaver. That is beautiful. That's way better than what I said. Oh, that's awesome. So my 2 semifinal games are going to be the Philadelphia Quaker Oatmeal Bowl, play this one at Lincoln Financial Field in an NFL stadium, beautiful venue here. We get the bigger feel here for the first semifinal game, the Philadelphia Quaker Oatmeal Bowl. And then my second one is going to be the Orchard Park Lays Bowl at Ralph Wilson Stadium. So Ralph Wilson Stadium, obviously where the Buffalo Bills play. So we get in two NFL stadiums here. They're going to be cold-ass semifinal games, but if you're a real football guy, that shouldn't be a problem. So the Orchard Park Lays Bowl and the Philadelphia Quaker Oatmeal Bowl are my two semifinal games. And my championship game is the Westwood Chex Mix Bowl. So Westwood is a neighborhood in Los Angeles. That's the neighborhood where UCLA is. UCLA plays their football games at the Rose Bowl. This is cheating again. The Rose Bowl is technically in Pasadena, California, but it's where UCLA plays, and they're in the neighborhood, so I'm taking it. Who doesn't love a national championship game at the Rose Bowl? Some of the most classic national championship games in NCAA football history have been at the Rose Bowl, so that's where I'm going with mine, the Westwood Chex Mix Bowl. So let us know who won. Those are our New Year's Six. Those are our championship games, our semifinal games. A couple honorable mentions I want to mention. Your very own, Ryan, the Joliet Banana Bowl that has like Northern Illinois and like Memphis written all over it. The Joliet Banana Bowl, that's hilarious. The Fort Wayne Leftovers Bowl made me laugh because you just put like the two worst teams in Power 5, make them go to Fort Wayne and play the Leftovers Bowl. That's hilarious. And then the Watsika Wasabi Bowl, my guy Luke Patterson sent that one in. I thought that was funny. I mean, if you've ever been to Watsika, I'm sure not a lot of people are eating wasabi there, but it rolls off the tongue. So those are our build your own bowl games on week 22 of Maloney's Moneyline, episode number 43 of the Brew Party podcast. Ryan, let's give the people what they want. Let's get into our picks. We're not guaranteeing that we have any winners, folks. They may be the best or they may be the worst. But let's get into it. Ryan, you're going to start us off, as you always do, your favorite of the week, the last week of 2020, the last episode of Maloney's Moneyline in 2020. Thank you all for being here. Ryan, you have the floor.
All right, yeah, let's finish this year off on a winning note. So I'm going to go with my favorite is Bama minus 19.5 versus Notre Dame. Yeah, I mean, I've bet Bama a lot on this show over the course of the season, and they've always been huge favorites, and they've pulled through for me every time. So, I mean, I my dad's a big Notre Dame fan, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be a good game for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be living and dying with Jimbo on Saturday, but it's interesting. So when you've picked Bama on the show, you're 4-0 picking Bama against the spread. You have taken one of their totals before as well, and that hit. So technically, when Bama's involved on your card, you're 5-0, Ryan. So that's not a bad bet. 19.5. I believe the line may have moved up 21 by now, but the last I saw it, it was at 20. So Ryan's favor of the week is going to be Alabama minus 19.5 versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish minus 114 odds in the Rose Bowl, not played at the Rose Bowl. So my favorite of the week, I'm going to college football since it is bowl season, Ryan. It's our bowl special. Indiana minus 8.5 versus Ole Miss at minus 109 odds here. So I was racking my brain all day about these picks. I had a few on my card that I actually ended up taking off. Indiana was one that I ended up replacing one of those with. But here it is. So the Hoosiers minus 8.5. I think they're going to be pissed. They got snubbed out of a New Year's Six bowl, which I truly believe that they deserved. They are 7-0 against the spread on the season. I'm going to ride that trend in the Outback Bowl. I know Michael Penix Jr. is not going to be playing, but I do believe Ty Freifogel and Whop Phillier are playing for the Hoosiers. So, I mean, I look for them to – I think it's going to be a shootout. Obviously, you and I know how Ole Miss games go. You've hit on a couple overs with the Rebels. So I think it's going to be a shootout, but I'm gonna ride that trend. Indiana hasn't lost against the spread this year. Indiana minus 8.5 versus Ole Miss minus 109. That is my favorite of the week. So let's go to our underdogs of the week. We've heard him in the background this whole time, our Scooby-Doo underdogs of the week. It's nice to have Scoob back on the brew party. It's only right for the last one of the year to have Scooby there in the background, giving Ryan some problems. God damn it, Ryan. I'm scared as hell at this pick you're about to say, but I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been grading the underdogs all year. And yeah, I don't know if you saw because you were talking and you were looking to the side, but I was muted and Scoop was like on the back of the couch standing over me, like running around. I was like, God damn. But yeah, underdog of the week is going to be our Chicago Bears plus 5.5 versus the Packers. We need to win this. We want a shot at the playoffs. I mean, as a fan, you always root to make the playoffs. So, anything can happen once you make it. So I think the Bears are going to play them really close. I know Green Bay's offense is deadly, but let's go Bear down plus 5.5.
Bear the fuck down. Let's go. Bears plus 5.5. We need this. Grant, thank you. Take the Bears in all caps. Let's go. We need it. I know the Packers still technically playing for playoff seeding, but they don't really need this game. They've already clinched. They've clinched the division. They will have their starters in. But come on, I mean, the Bears are hot. Mitch is hot. Let's go, Mitch. Run the damn ball. Limit the turnovers. Hold them on defense. Let's go. Take the Bears. Here is Ryan's pick. Once again, we'll show that for you. Bears plus 5.5 versus the Green Bay Packers. Minus 106. Reminder, he is your record when picking your underdogs of the week is 13-8. So that is definitely a trend to watch. Ryan knows how to pick those underdogs. So my underdog of the week, Ryan, I don't know if you're going to like this pick. We kind of teased it a little bit earlier. Cincinnati plus 6.5 versus the Georgia Bulldogs, also at minus 106 odds. Let me tell you why. I got my little write-up here that I wrote down, if I can even get it onto my screen. So I think Cincy is pissed off, on how the College Football Playoff Committee viewed them, down the stretch of the season. They just kept getting moved down. Like they didn't even play 1 week and they got moved down. They didn't give them any chance at all at the playoff. Not that I think they're better than any of the 4 teams or any of the 4 finalists. I just really enjoy the underdog story. So they're undefeated on the year. They didn't get the playoff, but they get the New Year's 6 game versus a blue blood. Georgia is a good team out of the SEC, but one that I think that Cincinnati can hang with. I know they're only 5-4 against the spread this season. I don't love that. I'll be honest. I don't love it, but I believe that this is the best G5 team we've seen in a long time. Desmond Ridder has had an outstanding season. I mentioned earlier, he's hitting 66% of his passes. That's a career high for him. He's thrown for 290 yards and 17 scores. Plus, he can hurt you with his legs as well. The junior has rushed for 572 yards and 5 touchdowns. So he can hurt you with his arm or with his legs. I'll be curious to see how Georgia's defense handles this. How many guys do they have not playing, opted out? I do not know that. I should have researched that a little bit more. I will say for Georgia, JT Daniels came in, took over this team, and they've looked like completely different on offense. So I think it's going to be a great game, but I think Cincinnati can cover the 6.5. I hope they win. We saw UCF beat Auburn a few years ago. I'm hoping that the Bearcats can do that as well. Ryan, I know you're not going to like that, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So let's go back to you. Your over of the week is where we're going.
All right, I'm going Ohio State, Clemson over 66.5. I think this is going to be a shootout. Definitely the better of the 2 playoff games, in my opinion. I think it will be probably a 1-score game to the end. 2 really high-powered offenses. So I'm taking 66.5. Life's too short to bet the under.
Sorry, thought my computer was going to die. I had to plug it in. There it is. Okay, cool. Sorry. But yeah, life is too short to bet the under, Ryan, except we do it at least once a week on this show. But OSU, Clemson over 66.5, minus 112 odds there. Yeah, I think that's a great bet. I mean, college overs are so hard not to take, at least in my opinion, because there's the craziness of college football. You don't really know what you're going to get on the defensive side of the ball. The amount of like spread offenses and teams that move quickly just increased over excuse me. Increased overtime. So yeah, OSU Clemson over 66.5. Let's hope we see that. Let's hope we see a lot of points. I would love to see a shootout. So if we go to my overs, I'm going back to college football. Texas A&M, UNC over 65.5. I think this is going to be another game that's going to be an absolute shootout. So overs are 6-5 in North Carolina games this year, and only 4-5 in Texas A&M games this season. But I think, don't quote me on this, if my calculations are correct, overs are 12-3 so far this bowl season. So UNC moves the ball really well on the ground and through the air. Sam Howell is thrown for 3,352 yards and 27 touchdowns. The Tar Heels have two players, Ryan, with 1,000+ rushing yards on the season. Javonte Williams has 1,140 yards and 19 touchdowns. Michael Carter has 1,245 yards and 9 touchdowns himself. De'Ami Brown is a threat on the outside with just under 1,100 yards with 1,099 yards and 8 scores. Texas A&M probably has a bad taste in their mouth from missing out on the CFP, just like I mentioned earlier with Cincinnati. So I think both of these teams try to come out and put on a show. Kellen Mond is completing career high 63% of his passes. He has 2,050 yards on the season, 19 touchdowns, and Isaiah Spiller is pretty solid out of the backfield for the Aggies as well with 986 yards and 7 scores of his own. So I'm going to take the over here, man. I think North Carolina is averaging over 500 yards a game on offense. It's surprising to me that only 6 of their games have gone over, but I'm going to ride that bowl overs trend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will be rooting for North Carolina in this game because go Gators. So.
Go Gators. Let's go to our unders of the week. Ryan, what you got?
All right, my under is Jaguars Colts under 49.5. Obviously, the Jaguars are not a good team at all. Don't score a ton of points, and the Colts have a really good defense, probably, top 3 to 5 in the NFL right now. So I don't think Jaguars are going to score too many times. I think, the Colts probably put up like 28, 35 points and call it a day.
Yeah, I think the Colts are going to come out pissed.
Yeah.
From that, obviously they blew the lead last week to Pittsburgh, but if you go back all the way to week 1, the Jaguars' only win of the year was against the Colts in Indianapolis. I think Indy comes out, tries to make a statement. They need this game for the playoffs. The line is currently at 14. I'm very weary always on those NFL NFL spreads when they're in double digits. But I think this is one you seriously consider hammering. James Robinson not playing. Mike Glennon hasn't looked awesome on the offense. They've moved the ball decently well. He hasn't been terrible, but I mean, he hasn't won a game for them yet as well. So this is also my under, Ryan. So I'm taking the Colts and the Jaguars under 49.5. I feel like this was the easiest game you look at. I mean, if you're a gambler, you know this. You're scrolling through DraftKings, you're scrolling through BetRivers, you're scrolling through FanDuel, whatever you use, you're scrolling through your book. There are games that stick out to you, and this was definitely one that's like, oh, I'd probably take the under in that. I do have some numbers from their totals this week or for this year. Like I said, I think the Colts are pissed. It's been a roller coaster at quarterback for the Jags, 3 different starters, Glennon, Minshew, Jake Luton, and Indy's defense is good. Like you said, I don't love that the overs are 9-6 in Colts games and 8-7 in Jags games this year, but I'm going to take my chances on this one, looking for them to buck that trend. Ryan is as well. So that's both of our unders for the week, Indiana and Jacksonville. Or Indianapolis, not Indiana. Indianapolis, Jacksonville, under 49.5 at -110 odds. So let's move on to our locks of the week.
All right, I'm going Giants +3 versus Dallas, the NFC beast. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Giants have been great all year against the spread. Dallas just coming off of a win last week. So I don't know. I think the Giants will probably win this game. It'll be close, but +3 is decent for this.
Yeah, it's really interesting because in the time, I don't remember like what time you sent me your picks, but in that time until now, the line has gone from Giants +3. They're now at +1.5. So you definitely are onto something here, I think. This is going to be, both teams are playing for the playoffs. Obviously, it's not winning you're in, it's win and hope the Washington football team loses to Philly in the Sunday night game. But this is going to be a very big one. I know the guys over at Big Blue Avenue who are actually live right now, Tom Scavetta and Hank and Dictor, are giving you a preview. We'll give you a preview of all of this stuff, the Giants, but I like that pick. I'm going to roll with the G-Men. I would rather see New York make the playoffs over Dallas. So the Giants +3 versus Dallas is Ryan's lock of the week. You better lock it up.
Oh, I locked it up. But yeah, that's good to know that Giants line moved, and I got it earlier at +3. So
look at you. We have a listener comment here from Grant Baker. Bananas that Washington is in the driver's seat just because they just cut their QB1. I mean, he wasn't really their QB1 though. Like he was like second string, third string. I think they're really at their best when they have Alex Smith under center in Washington. So let's move on. My lock of the week. You better lock it up, Ryan. I am taking the Buffalo Bills -1.5 versus your Dolphins. Fins down. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, ladies and gentlemen. They are the only team in the AFC that has a legit chance of knocking off the Kansas City Chiefs. Book it. I'm telling you that. The Steelers are frauds. I don't see anybody else touching the Chiefs besides the Buffalo Bills. Do you call it a statement win over New England? Because, I mean, they're having the Patriots are having a down year, but the Bills look damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bills really wanted to sweep them for the first time in a long time and make a statement that, they're the new head of that division. So, I don't think they were messing around from the beginning. They just wanted to come out and kick their teeth in and go home.
Right. I mean, in my opinion, they're playing better football than anybody right now. Josh Allen.
Yeah, definitely. I love watching them. I love Josh Allen. But yeah, I mean, I agree though. They are the only team that I think can beat the Chiefs right now.
So I actually retweeted something. So Josh Allen is playing at an MVP caliber level. I saw that. So I'm going to pull this tweet up here real quick and read it off. So I got it somewhere, I think. Okay, I can't find it, but he has more yards than Aaron Rodgers, a higher completion percentage than Patrick Mahomes. So basically, like his stats hold up, and he's a threat to run more than those guys. I know they're probably going to give it to Rodgers. I'm not saying that Rodgers isn't deserving of it because he has been fantastic this year, as much as I hate to fucking say that. But I would love to see Josh Allen win the MVP. I do think he's a legit MVP caliber guy, but this is going to be the matchup of the two best teams in the NFL against the spread this year. So your Dolphins, Ryan, are 11-4 against the spread. The Bills are 10-5. But I believe the Bills, like I said, they have the best chance of beating the Chiefs in the playoffs. I look for them to make a final statement win in their division, prove that the AFC East is really theirs. Plus the Dolphins quarterback situation really scares me. I don't really know like what, and I'm not saying I don't believe in Tua because I do. I think he can be a good quarterback, but I mean, if you look at his stats from last week, 17 for 22 for 94 yards. He did have a touchdown, but 17 passes and you're getting 94 yards in the NFL. That just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So will we see Fitzmagic at all? Who knows? I know Tua is getting the start, but I'm going to go with the Dolphins. We have listener comments. Diggs is eating now that he's away from Cousins. Absolutely. Also, spoiler alert, OU is up 14-0 against the Gators. Oh, no. Tim, thank you for those comments. Thank you for tuning in. But, yeah, I think Diggs has really just found his own. He's that legit number one receiver that the Bills have not had in a long time, and him and Josh Allen are just really having a good time with it. So I'm going Bills -1.5 versus the Dolphins. That is my lock of the week. Let's move on to our general picks, and we will close this out, the last Maloney's Money Line of 2020.
Yep. It's been a long ride.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's aged us, Ryan.
Yep.
Your general picks, you're going to start us off.
All right, I'm going to go Georgia -6.5 versus Cincinnati. So One last head-to-head before the new year. I don't know. I just like Georgia in this game. I think it will be a good game. But I think I trust Georgia more in this game.
Well, yeah, I get it. I'm going with Cincinnati here, obviously, like I said earlier, but I think it's going to be a great game. And it's our first head-to-head matchup, I think, since what? Cormier Miocic? Like
Oh, it's been a while.
That long ago. But yeah, let's go Bearcats.
I'm not gonna do a cheer for Georgia because I still hate them. But
fuck them. I wouldn't either. I'm glad you didn't, Ryan. So Georgia -6.5 versus Cincinnati is Ryan's pick. I am on Cincinnati +6.5. That's our first head-to-head matchup in God knows how long. I think our head-to-head record, I actually have that right here. I'll pull that up real quick. Ryan is 3-2 in head-to-head matchups. I'm 2-3. So Ryan has the better of that. Hopefully we tie before that happens. Another listener comment here from Grant Baker. Feel like Tua is used to receivers being wide open like they were at Alabama, and that just doesn't happen in the NFL. I think that's a great point, Grant. I do think he's probably looking for that, like what's going on. That's something he's going to have to make an adjustment to. So we got a few more picks here. So my first general pick, I'm going to get to that real quick, is going to be Tennessee and Houston over 56.5. I know Tennessee only scored 14 points against Green Bay this last week, but they have an explosive offense. Let's not act like that's not true. Defense that can't really stop anybody, though. They're not good at getting off the field on third downs. Their red zone defense isn't great. I'm going to hammer the over in this game. Overs are 11-3-1 in Titans games this season. I think that's good for the best in the NFL. Maybe Vegas also has 11 games that have gone over. So I'm going to ride the trend here for the last week of the season. I do think the Texans are going to come out and play hard. If anybody saw JJ Watt's press conference after the game, he was pretty pissed. He was calling his teammates out. I look for them to kind of try to end the season on a high note if they can. Hopefully Deshaun Watson is okay and he can play. But I mean, their offense hasn't been awful. They are able to put up points. So I'm going to go with it. Tennessee over 56.5, or Tennessee and Houston over 56.5. Excuse me. Ryan, let's go to your next pick.
All right. I am going the Washington football team money line at Philadelphia. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a must-win game. And I just, I like rooting for the Washington football team. I'm not, a huge fan of the Eagles. I'm not sure I don't know if they've announced who's starting this week for them. I don't know if Hurts is hurt. So we'll see. But yeah, it should be a good game. But I think football team comes out on top.
I was muted again. I said, absolutely. I'm going to be rooting for the football team. PFT commenters, Washington football team. The crazy saga with Dwayne Haskins, strip club loving Dwayne Haskins getting cut after a year and a half with the football team after being the 15th overall pick. That just doesn't really happen a lot in football. It remains to be seen where he will end up. He did not go. He went unclaimed on waivers, so he is free to sign. Wherever he would like. Washington, if they win this game, they're in, so they control their own destiny. Like we said, winner of the Giants and Dallas waits to see what the football team does on Sunday night. My second to last pick of 2020. That's crazy to say that this year is already almost over. Well, yeah. It basically is over. Yeah. Bucks -6.5 versus the Atlanta Falcons. Continuing on my Georgia hate tour. Fuck you, Kristen Tate. Can't end 2020 without picking against their two favorite teams. So, I mean, what have the Falcons done that makes you think they're going to cover this game? I know they did almost take the Kansas City Chiefs to overtime last week, but of course, Younghoe Koo misses that field goal after I believe he hit 26 in a row prior to that, which is just terrible to see. I was honestly hoping he made that and to send it to OT. Tampa Bay is going to be at full strength. Ronald Jones is coming back in the lineup, and the Bucks have they do have their playoff spot, but they can still improve their seed with a W, something that Bruce Arians said that his team is planning on doing. They are only 8-7 against the spread this season, but the Falcons suck. I mean, Julio Jones hasn't played since week 13. If Calvin Ridley isn't open, Matt Ryan does not know what to do with the ball. Give me the Bucs -6.5 here. I think they try to get some more momentum going into the playoffs. Obviously, they won 47-7 last week against the Detroit Lions, but I think they try to put it on their division opponent here, get to 11-5, and prove that playoff seed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Bucs are legit, so should be a good game.
Hear that, folks? The Bucs are legit. Quote that one, Ryan Maloney. Your last pick of 2020, Ryan. Really savor it. Savor this one. Your very last pick.
All right. I am going to go with the Clemson Tigers -7.5 versus Ohio State. I know you said you're obviously rooting for the Big Ten to do well. And like I said earlier, it's on my card with the over. It's going to be a shootout. I think it will go down to the very end, but I think Clemson comes away with this by, a couple scores.
All right, let's go. Clemson -7.5 versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. That is Ryan's very last pick of 2020. Savor that in. Another college football pick. He is 20-10 all time on this show when picking college football. So my last pick of 2020. I keep doing that. It's gross. On week 22 of Maloney's money line is the Saints -6.5 versus the Carolina Panthers. This is one I went back and forth on. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to ride with the Saints. So they can still get the number 1 seed with a win. So if they win, the Packers lose, and the Seahawks win, the Saints would get the number 1 seed by a tiebreaker. They have a lot more to play with for Carolina here. Carolina's only won like 5 games this year. Kamara scored 6 TDs last game. I think they try to ride him again this year. Breeze hasn't looked awesome, but it's hard for me not to take New Orleans here. The Saints are 6-1-1 in their last 8 games. Carolina's actually 4-1 against the spread in their last 5. I should say that New Orleans is 6-1-1 against the spread in their last 8 games, not just straight up. Carolina, like I said, is 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 and 9-6 against the spread all season. I'm looking for them to buck that trend, like I like to say on this show. But give me the Saints. They're playing for a number 1 seed. They're still going to have their guys out there. I don't know if Michael Thomas is going to be healthy, but I think they're still going to try to prove that they have something in the tank, that they are a contender in the NFC. Look to end the season on a high note. So those are our picks, ladies and gentlemen. That's week 22 of Maloney's Moneyline. This is Ryan Maloney's 23rd appearance on the Brew Party podcast. Of the 44 episodes, Ryan has been on 23 of them. Thank you so much, my friend, for doing this with me every week, bearing with my stupid ideas, my dumb comments, all of that stuff. So you are the 2020 champion of Maloney's Moneyline. I'm coming for you in 2021, my friend. I guess technically I could catch you, but you would have to go 0-8, and I would have to win all of mine this week. But one of us, or we have one of the same picks, so that can't happen. So preemptively naming you the 2020 champion of Maloney's Moneyline. That's why it's named after you, buddy. You finished you don't finish the year, but you go into this week 95-67-2. Our overall record is 183-141-5. To everyone out there, not just our Maloney's Moneyline fans, if you're a Brew Party fan, if you've tuned in, if you shared, if you retweet, you liked, if you follow us, anything, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on this ride with me. 2020 was a year of craziness. I had my son, something I didn't see coming in 2021. I started a podcast, something I didn't think I was going to do. That was a drunk thing that just happened. You're here. I've shown the support. We're at 4,000 total downloads, or over 4,000 total downloads, something I can't believe is true, but we're here. The Brew Party podcast, going for even bigger things in 2021, building on it. We're going, help us reach some milestones. So we are 347 likes on Facebook right now. Please, at the Brew Party podcast, help us get to 350. I think we're 1 follower away from 180 on Twitter, and we just hit 150 followers on Instagram. So find us on Twitter and Instagram at the Brew Party. Find us on Facebook at the Brew Party podcast. Find us on YouTube, youtube.com/the Brew Party. Trying to get our subscribers up there. Really lacking in that department, but once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. If you've tuned in, if you've listened, if you joined me, I've talked to people that I cannot believe I've had the pleasure of talking with. Like I've talked to a gold medalist. I've talked to dudes that have played professional basketball. I've talked to a Illini that I've watched for years that I loved. I've talked to my friends. I've talked to other bloggers, other podcasters that I can't believe I've gotten the opportunity to meet that are incredible. I've talked to a reality TV star, Alex Menard, somebody I grew up with, but incredible to see on the big screen. Just more big things are coming, man. We got more athletes, we got more podcasters, we got more everything coming. We're taking off in 2021. March marks the official 1 year mark of the Brew Party. March 2021. We're coming. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 44, the final episode of 2021 of the Brew Party podcast. Couldn't think of anybody better to ring in the new year with. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody out there. Let's get the fuck out of 2020. God knows that we need it. Last listener comment before we close it out. This is Maloney's Jordan episode.
Yes, sir.
23. Let's go. Grant Baker, Tim Weaver, Sam Cardona, anybody that commented, anybody that tuned in, thank you so much. The audio for this will be out in the morning, New Year's Eve morning. It's here. Episode 44 of the Brew Party podcast. I'm rambling. Ryan, any final thoughts on 2020, or not just the year, but on this show about your picks or just how it's gone? Just I'm going to mute my mic. You go ahead.
All right. Yeah, we both had dogs in the background this episode. I couldn't think of a better way. But yeah, no, I just want to say thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure coming on every week and giving out some picks and talking sports. So, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for everybody that listened. Hopefully we won you some money this year, and hopefully we'll win you some more next year.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris, for that comment. That is Brew. Tim, Brew did get the last word off of 2020. Hopefully more winners. Maloney's Money Line, week number 22 on the Brew Party podcast. You build your own bowl games, the bowl preview, everything you need. The Bears. Brian, the Bears going to win this week?
Absolutely.
Mark it down. Mitch is leading the Bears to the playoffs.
Let's go, Mitch.
Let's go, Mitch. Shout out, Carl. Let's go, Mitch. Print the shirts. All right, we're out of here. This has been an incredible time, Ryan. I thank you as always for joining me. Looking forward to more winners in 2021. Like you said, we're plus 30.1 units now. Let's get to plus 40.
Let's do it.